What's up, everyone? Steven here from Tech Maker Studio. In this episode, we're going to keep going with our React.js Twitter clone, which is decentralized using Aleph.im, and this is part 2 of this workshop series. So if you followed along with part 1, you'll remember we basically just kind of set up the layout and started pulling in some kind of basic data from the Aleph network. In this episode, and again, these are the workshop episodes here, so we may meander a little bit. These are more freestyle, so just keep that in mind. What I think I'm going to do here is just kind of continue to work on the layout a little bit and also try to flesh out this data and kind of see what else we can display here. And again, this isn't the data we're going to use for our app. This is coming in from the chat channel on Aleph. And again, it's open decentralized data. So whenever we set up our actual data source and we actually start broadcasting data to the network, you'll be able to run your own user interface and just use the app. It's sort of like the old days of Twitter back when their API was fully open. You could just build your own app directly on top of the data. It's kind of what's going to happen here. So it's permissionless, so anybody could do pretty much anything they want, and that's just how it goes. So with that said, the first thing I want to do is jump back over into the code, and I want to just kind of log out what exactly we have going on here. So let's do console.log and then props.content, props.post, if I can type. So let's jump back over to the browser here and open up our console, and you see we have all of these JavaScript objects logging out now from our post.js. So you can see here we have the address. So the address here is the same as like your wallet address. So whenever you post something to the network, it's going to be your address. And if you're not familiar with Web3 and cryptography or anything like that, basically this is a really cool like single sign-on system effectively. So we can tell who posted every message to the network by them signing the transaction in their wallet. So then what we can actually do, and we'll do this later, Aleph has this cool profile concept where we can pull back things like profile, username, picture, stuff like that from the address. It's a little more complicated than that actually. Let's see. Is there a timestamp of when this was posted? We may have to include, if I'm not, I may just not be seeing it. It would be cool if we had that. Let's look at item. So we have content here, which is body, hey. What's in the item content? So let's actually do json.parse props.post, and then we'll do .item content. I think I should be able to query that like that, and then we'll refresh over here and let's have a look at this. Yeah, so this actually has, this may be what we want to work with actually, is the actual item content. So we still have the address, okay, so that's good. We get the type in here of chat. We get the ref, which is sort of like a foreign key is one way we can use that. We'll get into that later. And then we have the message content, which again, this is custom for, you know, this chat channel essentially. And then we have the time it was posted. Okay, cool. So that's pretty handy. One thing we may want to do is, so you see these times here are these like Unix timestamps basically. We can convert that into a displayable date by saying new date and then paste that in there and do times 1,000. And you can see this was posted on Sunday, August 29th, 2021. I'm pretty sure these come in newest first, so this should be, I think this may actually be like from today or not too long ago, so we'll just paste this in and this will help me just remember December 4th, 2021. Cool. So yeah, they're coming in like that. All right, so if we look at, actually let's look at Twitter. basically you can see you've got like, you know, these are coming in with the username, the handle. This is a promoted one, so that's not. This one's got the username, the handle, how long ago, and then the text, and then you have all these icons and stuff down here, right? Okay, so what we want to do is just kind of start to rough in some of this information. So I'm going to just kind of put a comment here. What we want to do is have, we'll start with the address, and we're going to want to truncate it. We'll switch over to like a username kind of system soon, but for now we want the address, we want the time posted, which we'll just display as a date for now, and then we'll have the message content, and then maybe like a link to view this message, because remember the message that's coming in from Aleph, we don't have any. Well, you may not know this if you haven't followed along with any of the other series, but we don't have an ability really to control what gets posted to the network, because anybody can post to it. They don't have to go through our front end. So we don't have any way to say like you're not allowed to post, you know, a 10,000 word article as a post. So what we're going to want to do is just truncate the actual message content to look like a tweet, or just be shorter, and then maybe you can click to view. So in that sense, it'll be more like a Facebook post, where you can actually post whatever you want, or longer form content, and then people can kind of like click to see more. So that'll be kind of like that. But we can start with this, and then let's see where we are. All right. So in actual fact, let's set the content up here. So again, like we're gonna want to import, let's say use state from React, and then we're going to use this this state hook basically to go ahead and hook up our various attributes. So I don't want to have to be calling like props.post.item.content all the time. So what we're going to do is say const, and then we'll say address, and then set address. I don't know, is it address or address? I don't know. I just used it both ways, so whatever. So we'll say use state, and we'll not initialize it with anything. Actually, you know what we can do is just say props dot. Let me think about this for a sec. Probably what we want to do first is say, I think these run top to bottom, so we should be able to say item content and then set item content, which we don't really need to use. I think we're just not going to really use item content, so we can just kind of mark it like that, so that you know, we don't think we need to set it somewhere else. But what we can do is say use state, and then we'll say json.parse, and then props.post.item content, like that. And then down here, we won't need to set address either. We'll just say item content dot address. Okay. And then let's just like print out the address here, and let's see if this works. So if we come back over, we're just going to see all the addresses that are posting things. Okay. Then let's do the same thing for the time posted. And then we'll do an underscore set time posted, because again, we don't need to use these for anything at the moment. And you know, this one actually we need to run a little bit of code, and so I'm just going to pass this in kind of as a callback, just to be able to set this up kind of on different lines. And what I'm going to do is say I'm basically going to do new date, and then we'll do item content dot time times 1,000, like this. And then down here, let's go ahead and put this in a p tag. We're going to change all this up sooner than later. Just trying to get all the content that we want on the screen. And then what we'll do is say time posted like that. And let's go see what that looks like. It looks like nothing. Do we not have a time? Oh, I need to probably return like that. And it didn't like that. The error occurred above the, oh boy. Let's do this. Let's try not to use my fancy callback thing first of all. Let's just paste it like that. And let's refresh and see if that fixes anything. It may have a problem with my, yeah, it's something to do with my objects are not valid as React. Let's do this. Let's undo. Let's comment this out. And then comment this out. And refresh. And let's see here. Hopefully we get a bunch of stuff logging out. Okay, so we're definitely getting time here, right? So what is new date? And then passing that in times 1,000. So what's wrong with that? Is it date equals something and then date dot to date string maybe? And then maybe we could do to date. I don't really know all of my to date to, what do we have here? To local time string. What does that do? So to local time string, to local string. There's so many little methods here. Let's just see what we got. So to time string, to local date string. Let's try that one. Okay, so we want the local, I think we want the local string, basically. Just that for now. So essentially what's happening is the error was that React says, hey, we're not expecting this. Well, you can't basically put an object here. It has to be like a simple data type, like a number or a string or something. So this should basically get us set up. Yeah. So this obviously is not how we're going to want to display this, but this is something to start with. And then I think the last thing for now that we want to display is the content down here. So let's do another p tag here. And let's do content. And then up here we need to say const content set content equals, and then we'll do use state, and then do item content dot what is that again? Content dot body. Now this will change whenever we switch to our own sort of data feed. Again, this is the chat. This is how they set it up. They have a content with just a body. I don't know what we're going to call it. We might go with that. But now you can see here, we have the address, the time this was posted, and then whatever the message is. Cool. So looks like I don't know, somebody was testing this just a little bit ago, so that's cool. One thing I want to do while I'm noticing, if I just noticed this, like, and again, like our styling has not been, we haven't done much yet at all, other than just kind of getting the layout put together. But if we look at Twitter, this central area is really narrow. Now, again, I think this has to do with just the fact of like, they have ads on the right rail, and we may not do that, but in the interest of looking pretty similar, for the moment, let's go to posts, and actually that doesn't have it. We have app, We have call 9. So I think this is like 7. Like this. And then in the post, let's give these things an MB. Let's do an MY3. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, cool. So now they're like, you know, centered a little more on the screen, sort of. I think if we made that, probably, if I have to guess, what we want to do is make this a 6. And then so now you have 3 columns on the left, 3 on the right, which we can put other stuff in, and then the sort of feed in the middle. So that's cool. So before we move on, I think I'm going to wrap this episode up kind of soon because I want to cut these around like 20 minutes-ish. I don't know exactly how far we are, but it's getting in that ballpark, I think. So let's go back over to post. One thing I want to do is I don't want to render out this entire address. And I want to actually have a truncate address function that we write in the top level because I'm also going to want to truncate the address somewhere else. So this is going to be just a utility. For now, I'll just put it at the top level of the app so we can pass it around. We can move it into like a utilities directory later. But for now, we're just going to say const truncate address equals, and it's going to take in an address. And basically what we want to do is say return, and then let's do some tick marks and interpolate this, and we'll say address.slice, and we'll do 0 and then up to 6, I think, like that. And then let's do ... and let's do the same thing and do address.slice and then address.length -4. We'll see what this looks like. To address.length. I don't know if that's, I just kind of did that off the top of my head. So let's try this first of all on our account button over here. And so we'll say truncate address equals truncate address. And we'll go into our account button.js. And then here, we'll say props.truncate address. Like this, and let's see if we broke anything. Oh, that's pretty much exactly what we wanted. So we have basically the 0x d4fb and then 0x or 0565, and let's look up here, and so we have 0x d4f. We're not showing the b here. Maybe to be consistent with MetaMask, we'll trim one character. So 0x d4f ... 0565. Okay, so let's do that. So we'll do to the 5 position, and then we'll copy this. I think I probably will move this into a utils thing later because otherwise we're passing this function around to like every component that needs to know about an address. And in this case, for example, we're going to pass it here, and this is going to be props.truncate address. And then over here, let me copy this. And what we're going to do in our post is say our address is useState, and then we'll do props. All right, I'm going to kind of have to tweak this up a little bit. So we'll basically paste this in here. And let's go see what that looks like. All right, cool. Are these all the same here? Is this like one person testing a bunch? No, they're not all the same. You can see it switches here. But yeah, I was kind of surprised for a second. I'm making sure I didn't have a bug, but it's probably one person who's just kind of testing, trying to figure it out. Yeah, we have a few people in here. Okay, cool. So that looks like it's working. As I was saying, in the future, so what we're going to do, one thing we need to do is have like a profile picture here and then shift this content over that way. This I want to do like in Ruby on Rails, there's this time ago in words concept, which is, I think, based around what you see on Twitter. So you see like 6 minutes ago or whatever. So I don't necessarily want to just say 6M or 45M or whatever. I want to say like, well, we could say that. And then maybe if like it's more than a certain time, you put the date or something like that. So that could be something. I do really want to mimic their layout here. So in the next episode, what we're going to do is exactly that. We're going to put like a placeholder image. We're going to mimic the layout here a little more and just kind of make the design look more realistic, like it's actually an app, because right now it's very, very bare. And then once we have that done, we will start looking at hooking up the ability to actually post to the network and using our own data feed. This is going to take us quite a few episodes, so I hope you're into it. And if you are, be sure to subscribe to the channel and share this with anybody who you think might be interested. But I think that's where I'm going to stop this one, and look forward to the next one, and I'll talk to you there.